All right, what's going on, Macro Perspective crew? Ooh, we got a great episode today. Marcos, I feel like it's been a moment since we recorded. I feel like the holidays, travel, everything. I feel like we're a little rusty, just like haven't had the practice. So this will be a great episode because we got Jacob Gise coming on, guys. He is representing his company, Redsalt. But I got to meet Jacob actually at a tabling at a gym called, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it.
It was
Camp
Camp LA. Yeah.
Yeah, Cute LA in Santa Monica. And basically we're booths right next to each other and we were both selling our product and selling the thing. And man, Jacob had a lot of folks coming over for some electrolytes. Some people were talking about I was talking about DEXA scans and different things for BOD. But Jacob, yeah, maybe do an intro for the folks, your elevator pitch of who you are. You've had an extensive knowledge background in the health and fitness world. So I'll let you take it, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And nice to be on today, guys. A lifelong student of the game. And the game for me is to how to optimize my health and fitness while impacting the world in a positive way, aka solving people's problems, aka start my own business. So that's kind of who I am and how I want to present myself is, I think in my younger days would have been totally different, but now that I'm actually going through a unique opportunity, which we can talk about a little bit later, but I've kind of got the freedom to figure out like, what do I want in this life? And it really does come down to like, how much positive impact can I pass on and like a ripple effect? And that's what really like makes me happy and what my goals are internally. So
I love it.
Sick. Well then, so you mentioned right before we hit record that you were gym owner for a number of years.
yeah, I can take you through a little bit of my entrepreneur journey.
Yeah,
I started entrepreneurship pretty early and around 19 years old. I started playing in a band with my brother, and we lived in North Georgia, kind of the South there, and we were playing like hill country blues. But in that experience, I had to go around trying to get gigs at bars and restaurants and clubs, sell ourselves, promote us, get people to show up. And so I kind of learned a little bit about entrepreneurship then. But that segued into me meeting a lot of people in the bar industry. It was kind of Athens, Georgia, Dahlonega, Atlanta area. And I started working in bars, ended up like 3 years later owning a bar for a few years. And that lifestyle, the whole time I was kind of like personal training people here and there. And always my passions were in health and fitness. But I landed in the service industry, the nightlife industry. And it was a wild journey in my 20s in Atlanta. But when I turned 30, I was like, okay, I got to exit that. I love serving people and bringing like high energy. So I basically just went from high-fiving people in the bar, serving them shots, to like high-fiving people in the gym here in Santa Monica, which I started when I turned 30, and, handing them like dumbbells. And so it's like same energy I get to bring towards my clients or customers, but it switched opposite. I'm like, hey, here I'm kind of fucking you up, and here I'm making you a better person. So yeah, the last 6 years I owned a gym in Santa Monica, but I recently just exited that to start Redsalt and go all in on my own brand, because the gym was a franchise and I feel like it was kind of living out someone else's dream. And now I get to really pursue just Redsalt is all me. It's only me right now, but it's kind of my baby, my creation. And I'm super happy about getting that opportunity.
sick. What's the origin of the name?
Yeah, great question. So, I'm sure you guys cook a lot of your food. Being healthy people, we cook a lot, whole foods, and you're going to be seasoning your own foods. And so, obviously, salt, pepper, go to steaks, vegetables. I actually just ate my daily like ribeye with my raw salad. I love it. It's so good. But I was flavoring some stuff with this unique sea salt from Hawaii called alaea sea salt. Have you guys ever had Japanese sweet potatoes?
Dude,
Yes.
every week, man. I'm at Air One. I'm at Air One. I'm broke because of it.
Well, dude, don't get theirs. Just cook your own. It's so easy. Chop it up, throw it in the oven on 415 for like 30, 45 minutes.
Dang,
Whatever, how big you chop it.
My wife loves the convenience of Air One and also the status symbol, I guess. I don't know.
Trust me, that's like the only place I eat out, but it's like every time I do, it's like $100 for, a simple meal. But anyways, I was eating a lot of steak and potato and just flavoring it with this red alaea sea salt. And at the time I was actually taking Element and Creatine together. And I'm like, why is no one making, in my opinion, a high quality electrolyte with, good quality sea salts that has creatine in it too? because pairing the two together allowed me to absorb creatine a little bit better. That's how I felt in my experience. And I didn't get kind of like that bloating or that dehydrated feeling, which I had gotten in the past when I first started taking it, like in high school. And so I was like, man, I'm just going to test out and like do more research on the salt. And it happened to be one of the most high quality sea salts in the world. It's got over 83 trace minerals. It has a really unique flavor. The red alaea clay from the Hawaiian volcanoes enriches it. And so you've got a little bit extra iron oxide, which makes it red, but that flavor is so unique. They use it in a lot of Hawaiian cuisine as well. And so that was kind of the start of Redsalt. Was it's actually a red salt that is one of the highest quality sea salts in the earth.
Oh shit. Okay. Red alaea sea salt. And then that is the primary driver. I thought it had to deal with the fact that you're like red meat, creatine. So again, I was
Okay.
just trying to piece two and two together by looking at the product and kind of like associating it, but it does make more sense that it would be more from the, the color of the actual salt that you're utilizing too. And then having not used your product, in terms of like what it looks like when you're taking it out of the bag, it probably has like a different tinge to it as well, correct?
Yeah. So actually, I've went on quite the journey so far, and I feel like I'm going to learn a lot more. But with manufacturers and how they mix it, I started with two different manufacturers just to test and see who I liked working with, how the product quality was, what education they could bring me. One of them mixed it really fine. And so most powder like creatine, magnesium, potassium, had some L-citrulline, some taurine in there, is white. But when it was blended with the red alaea salt, it actually turned the powder pink.
Mhm.
And so it was pink. But then the other guy, he didn't like mix it as fine. He kind of left the salt speckles so you could see them. So it was kind of like a white powder that was woven in the salt throughout. And that actually looked pretty cool because you could see the actual red salt. Now the new products, which I just came out with, new packaging, I've got like a new formula. It's optimized fully because this is basically 2.5 years and almost like a $500,000 of my own time and money into making this. So a lot went into it. But now it's kind of a little pink and you can see a little bit of the salt specks in there, but it is still kind of ground pretty fine there. And I don't know which one I like better. For me, it's more about obviously the functionality of it. How does it taste? How does it make you feel? Then what does it look like?
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a little bit pink. And then when it hits the water, it does turn a little bit pink as well. But no artificial colors or anything involved. It's just that red alaea sea salt.
Nice. Okay. Well, the so you're mentioning quite a bit of like spend to like get you to this final product for this particular product amidst you have a few others as well. How did you go about the like is it purely like the sea salt has the magnesium and all the other components to it, or those were things that you had to add to it to kind of give it a full electrolyte blend?
Yeah, great question. I was actually just thinking about that. I like to think of like sea salt, high quality mineral salt versus table salt, almost like processed sugar, high fructose corn syrup, or cane sugar versus fruit and honey. With fruit and honey, especially fruit, you're going to get fiber, phytonutrients, all the micronutrients, which helps your body absorb it and read it and actually use it. Where it's kind of the same with salt. The level of trace minerals you're getting, so magnesium, potassium, like all these trace minerals you're getting with the salt, they're not like a high amount, but that small amount allows your body to receive it and absorb it and use it because that's how it was tended in nature. And so the further we get away from nature, and we can see with modern day society, like sitting down inside, no sunlight, no fresh air, not being grounded, you start to get further away from what I believe could be like truly optimize health. And so I've added in the formula or obviously potassium and magnesium to make it a full balanced electrolyte powder. And I've also learned a lot about that. So I started my first product here. So where did that go? Here it is. So this guy was one of my first ones called Redsalt Hydrate. And it had basically like a 4-to-1 ratio of sodium to potassium and then, less magnesium. What I took inspiration from was Element and kind of the high sodium guys, which I love. Like I believe that drinking your salt is one of the most powerful things you can do for your health and fitness. And I'll go into that in a second. But they use a 5-to-1 ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium to 200 milligrams of potassium. That's what your body loses sodium potassium at, but it doesn't absorb it with that. It absorbs it more of a 3-to-2 ratio, which means so like 300 milligrams of sodium to 200 milligrams of potassium. So I found myself kind of every morning while I was taking this, my 4-to-1 ratio, that when I ate a banana or like a kiwi with it, which I think kiwis are like one of the most powerful fruits ever, it actually helped me hydrate better, partly due to the sugar, which the sugar does help. And I like getting my sugar from natural sources, not like a liquid IV, which will come from processed sugar. But then partly from the increased potassium to help absorb that sodium. So if you're taking it after a hard workout, you sweat a lot. Yeah, you could actually benefit from that high level of sodium potassium. But for me, I was using it as like a start my day, a morning ritual, or I work out in the morning, so kind of a pre-workout. And so I've increased the potassium on the new formula to 400, so 1,000 milligrams sodium, 400 milligrams potassium. So that way, if you did want to eat some fruit and up that potassium, get that sugar in, it would benefit you, but you don't have to because you can absorb it before. And then you also don't have to just, take it afterwards where you're depleted. And I'm finding a lot of these new electrolyte mixes are focusing on that potassium ratio, getting a little bit higher. And I just find it really beneficial. And then I just increased the magnesium. I use magnesium malate, which is more for energy instead of glycinate or bisglycinate, which is more for relaxation. But they're both really absorbable forms of magnesium. And I've actually put 150 milligrams because in today's society, our soil is very, very weak. So we don't get a lot of the micronutrients in the food that we should have. And magnesium is one of those that we're really deficient in. And so, yeah, this new formula has almost 3 grams total of electrolytes compared to like liquid IV is less than a gram. Gatorade's less than 500 milligrams. And then Element was like a 2.3 grams. So more electrolytes per serving and a better balance of ratio between sodium and potassium.
Man, a lot went into this because it's like, yeah, I feel like Element dominated the scene, at least from an optics perspective. Maybe there's other things like Relight, or like there's another one like called Unzu or something like that, or like starts with U. But man, that's like a lot of thought to like go into like the daily ritual, the performance aspect of it, and then you're also stacking creatine on it.
Yeah. So it was like, I think the biggest challenge with creatine is staying consistent. It's not an acute supplement. You're not going to take creatine and feel like you had a stimulant caffeine spike. It's something that you have to saturate and build up over time. And I was like, well, I wake up every morning. I want to hydrate first thing. One, it's going to make me feel more awake, alert, more energy. I'll talk about the ritual in a second, but it gives me that like 10 to 15 minutes in the morning to set intentions for the day, to set goals. And instead of like waking up, reacting to emails or text messages or social media and be reactive to the world, I put that off. I drink my electrolytes and I actually roll out on this little ball. And so I breathe and intentionally think about, okay, what are some goals I can complete today that are going to make me a better person, but also help make the world a better place? And so that ritual to me was so powerful, but it's like, why not add in your daily dose of creatine, knock it out, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to get it in my protein shake? But I didn't have enough time to get that shake in today. I missed it. And so it takes care of your 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per serving. And it really just makes it easy to stay consistent, which that's the most important part with creatine. And we should probably go into a little bit just for the viewers, the listeners, on how creatine is not a steroid and not for just bodybuilders, because it's still a lot. I know in our bubble, we know like all the information, but it's just like most people aren't in our bubble. And so I would like to encourage people to at least try out creatine because it has so many amazing benefits.
Yeah, it's so true. Like people are like, I remember there was like a meme, like this guy on the internet. He has like like a immigrant mom, and like she finds some creatine in his room, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you on steroids?" Like this is like you have to explain like, "No, mom, it's just like a normal daily supplement. You find it in your food. This is a supplement version." She's like, "Oh my god, you're on steroids." It's like, no, it's not. Creatine is found in 2 sources. We have it. It's probably the thing you and your grandma should be taking on the most, especially for just like as the precursor to like ATP, that phosphocreatine cycle. So it's great for muscle, obviously, but we've been seeing a lot, and I know a lot of Dr. Rhonda Patrick's work, or at least just like her messaging around it, has been around even dosing it higher. And there's been some seminal studies around it this year, especially just around April, that came out. Studies were done April 2025, January. It was like published, but like in April is when the public caught big sweep of it because of like certain MAHA panels. But like creatine itself, like if you dose it high enough, your brain, cognitive function, lymphatic system, sleep, if you lack some sleep, things like this, I feel like that's money. So if like your electrolytes, creatine, it's a morning ritual, yeah, I think it's money, dude. I think it's money. I love it. I love how it's just all there. Like it would solve so many problems for me because like I personally, this product was made for me because I train in the morning. So like if I just get that and I go, like it would just be so good.
Absolutely. And like sodium, salt, pre-training is so powerful. It increases blood volume, your ability to push longer, harder in sets, hydration. Like I honestly think if you're dehydrated, like you're less of a human being if you could be optimally hydrated. Like you're gonna think slower, move slower, recover slower. And so hydration, I believe, is like, if you're an athlete or if you're a competitor, like you should be really focused on that. And then obviously, fuel, which comes from carbs and food sources, fats, if you're running off of that.
I do got to ask, because like you are competing with like an element and stuff like that. And I know you love those products, but like, I know you're launching, and I thought we were talking about that earlier, but like, how are you differentiating yourself, or like, how is the messaging around this? And I know this is probably still something you're probably like hashing out, but like, how have you thought about this? Because it's like in the world of supplements, and I know you have your supplements, you got the protein, you've got the other things and all this, but this seems to be like the main offering. Like, how do you think about differentiating yourself there as well?
Yeah, so the other products I have, I'm actually giving away for free for those who subscribe to Redsalt Elite, and not making any more of those. There's a few reasons why, and I'll get into how I'm competitive in a second. But I just want to touch on those old products. I learned a lot. To be honest, I don't know how to make money with protein. I believe the margins are really low. That for me, it seems that people who push protein, it's kind of like that's how they get people hooked, and then they make money on other things. I could be wrong, but I don't even want to learn that. It's like there's just so much competition.
That's what I've heard. Like, everyone just has a protein just because it's that product, and then it's like, all right, they got this other thing, but the margins on it are absolutely atrocious. So
yeah, if you want like a good quality one, like if you're just throwing in a bunch of concentrate and wrecking people's stomach, then that's a different story probably. So these other products, I actually built like 5 products in the beginning. This is one of my big mistakes. And so hopefully this can help someone listening.
Yeah.
I had heard like a podcast about supplements, and the guy's like, yeah, you got to have a $200 AOV to make it. And AOV means average value of the first order. So it's like you've got your LTV, your lifetime value of that customer, but then you have that first order where I need to spend marketing dollars, products, shipping. And so I'm trying to not lose money on that first order to have a good business, which you can lose money and make money over time, which I'll get to in a second. It's kind of like my model and what I'm super stoked about. But I was like, okay, I need enough products where I can get a $200 cart built up for people and basically have like your all-in-one performance stack. And that's what I built. But in doing that, it's like I started to learn that, okay, I was more marketing towards like the pre-workout crowd. And it was like my branding wasn't for that. That's kind of like I don't know what words to use, but like really like stemmed out, like, oh, this is going to make you like, oh, like most of the pre-workout world is going to promote like feeling just insane. And like, I just want to promote good daily health. I'm not trying to make you, like have 300 milligrams of caffeine and feel itchy and like niacin making you all hot and all these feelings. I'm just like a smooth, steady, good energy through hydration, creatine. So basically it's like all these products I made, I'm not going to continue them, but they're really good. I still use them on a daily basis for my performance, my recovery. I love them. But the business model, it just didn't make sense. Like I would have had to compete with all these big players and really invest a lot into growing that and promoting it. And so what I've done is I've simplified the offer to one product. I've taken inspiration from AG1, where your first month, you get a bunch of free gifts to kind of set you up. It's a really good offer. And they want you to take it every day. It's your daily greens powder AG1. Mine's your daily hydration and creatine. And they want you to subscribe and save and be a part, like a member almost. And so I took inspiration from the gym, where I love my gym community. I swear I've connected so many people people who met their wife now, their significant other, people who met their best friends. And like, this is what actually made me happy, was like being in this community environment, interacting with people, and like just giving people more by bringing us all together so we can all elevate each other. I'm like, how can I do that on a global scale, first national, with Redsalt? And so anyone can copy my product. Like, go ahead and copy my formula. It's amazing. I think it's the best formula ever made. And we can get into more of like the aminos I put in there, but anyone can copy that. What I want to build is an experience for my members who get monthly deliveries of Elite, but also value from me sending them free gifts. And so I was showing this earlier. This is a self-myofascial release ball. I don't know if you guys foam roll or, have like a lacrosse ball you can roll out. It is powerful. I swear, I've saved people. Like, this lady came to me at the gym. She's like, yeah, I don't know if I can join. I'm about to have hip surgery. I'm like, oh, what's wrong? And she's like, yeah, it's just really tight, like in her psoas, in her hip flexor. I was like, you got to roll on this. I taught her how to roll and breathe intentionally and release that. She came back the next day, joined, and she's like, I don't have to have hip surgery anymore. You literally solved my hip pain just by teaching her how to roll out. It's so powerful. I was literally laughing with my sister. I'm like, I'm going to be selling this, but giving this away for free, when like this, people are going to be like, I just want to buy this, because the experience and what I'm going to teach people through a tutorial is like super powerful to release tension in the body, kind of like breathing in itself. Not a lot of people do, especially like to get to the parasympathetic nervous system and relax. Like, that's rare. A lot of people chest breathe. They don't breathe through their diaphragm, and they don't have like a practice or routine that they do that. And so I'm really happy to provide that to people. But it's like, that's just one thing of my 20 years of health and fitness experience that I can just send for free to these members. And then the third layer is, this is what I'm really excited about, is bringing people together in person through health and fitness events. I think a really cool thing would be, AM radio, like the coffee daytime parties, having an event like that where you get together, instead of coffee, it's electrolytes. And so we've got, cool DJ, you're dancing, you're not drinking. I'm really familiar with that. I've, owned a bar, but instead of alcohol, we're focusing on like, supplements and good things for you, but bringing the community together in a health and active way that they can socialize, meet other high performers who have things in common, and kind of all elevate each other. So that's the true way I want to build my brand and Redsalt, is to be this membership experience that's immersive, not just a product that I sell and transactional.
Yeah. I feel like you're putting such a great like business nuance to it, because I feel like the health and wellness tribe and community is really coming up in multiple ways. Like, you've seen that in growth in different sectors, and it's all coming up, right? So people want that community, people want to connect, and it's crazy. I'm just like getting excited, because it's like, you could just literally tell people, hey, we're doing a run and it's sponsored by Redsalt, or like, hey, we're doing this like shakeout thing, or we're doing this like wellness enthusiast thing in terms of maybe like sauna after and hanging out, and it's like, it's all around just health oriented things, and a lot of people are more connected with that now than ever. Like, you look at run clubs, you look at High Rocks, for example. There's other programs coming out called like Ethics, and like all these different things that are coming out, and it's like companies like you and brands like yourself, like with Redsalt, are just positioning themselves to be like, all right, we could be in the support of that, and there's the persona, the avatar, the person that's the high performer that needs the support, wants to feel on top of their game, but don't want to like you said earlier, stim themselves to death with pre-workout, or they just want to have a good morning routine. And I feel like this time is so prime for that. It's like such a big boom, and I think we're still in like the beginning stages of it, because I don't think it's been fully fleshed out. I think the next 5 to 10 years are going to be, I feel like, such an amazing time for health and wellness. They quote unquote say it's like big pharma is like a $600 billion industry. Well, big wellness is like a $2 trillion industry. We could just keep tapping into it even more.
Yeah. I growing up, my dad literally would preach this every day, being like, so you don't wait till your car breaks down to change the oil, do you? And he's like, we don't have a healthcare system, we have a sick care system, and we need to introduce proactivity, or like proactive healthcare, which he's pitching chiropractic, but also eating healthy, moving, good meditation, or mental practices. And yeah, I honestly, like, that's one reason why I exited the gym, is because everybody and their mother is opening up some kind of fitness gym experience. And I don't know if you know, like, the landscape here in Santa Monica, but
Every
you
other
go down
block.
you go down a block and you see two gyms. And it's like, I've talked to these owners, and this happened in Athens when I was owning the bar. It's like there was so much competition that everybody started dropping their prices. And it became to where, like, we were almost paying the people to come in and drink because the prices got to like $1. And they're like, no, we'll just pay you to come in and drink just so we could have people there. And then obviously, 3 or 4 years later, the businesses who can't make it go out of business and the ones who survive rise to the top. And so that's literally happening right now in the fitness industry here in LA. I don't know about other places, but the market is saturated with fitness experiences, but the people who want it are kind of the same. And so, yes, I think it's a post-COVID response. You remember how they were like, the metaverse is taking over, and
Mm-hmm.
then AI just totally like just wiped that off the earth. But it's people's response to like being locked up and isolated. Now we want that community. We want to be outside. We want to be with people, being active and healthy. And thank God the world's getting away from the alcohol consumption, and like, not everyone, but a lot of people are changing their social behaviors. And I really want to be on this wave. Like you said, it's a great time.
Yeah, and then the holistic lens of, like you said, like myofascial release and just the other things you can incorporate in addition to kind of like that morning ritual, like you said, can go I mean, truth be told, I mean, I think a lot of people like lack the ability to have that and kind of carve out that time early enough because it's like up and grind mode, like you said. And
Yeah.
maybe it is the next generation that changes the status quo on those things again. Seemingly, more people will have to have the ability to actually go do manual labor because with all the AI, the jobs that
Yeah.
are going to be actually the most fruitful are the ones that actually use your hands yet again. Funny enough. You got to get out there and fix the robot, damn it. I had a thought though. If I wanted to use this more than once a day, like how many servings do you do in a day?
Yeah, I can walk you through best practices in my experience, my opinion. So I wake up first thing, and I've actually created this new formula in a way that one scoop is half a serving. So a serving size is 2 scoops.
Mm-hmm.
One reason it's a 17.5 gram serving. So that would be a massive scoop. You're thinking like protein powders are probably like 25 gram scoops, somewhere in
Mm-hmm.
there. So it's close. And it's hard to get in a water bottle. So I reduced it, one, because of that reason, but two, is so you could almost custom dose it. Like if you buy a stick pack of electrolytes, you can't really custom dose it. If you don't use it all, it's going to go back. Or you can't use like a little bit more than one. So you can't use like a half or a third. With this, you can dose it however you want. Everyone's sodium salt needs tremendously different based upon a lot of factors: your genetics, how much you weigh, your exercise activity, how much you sweat during exercise, are you saunaing, are you in a really hot environment? All of these factors into it. But what I've found, and what is really cool, is we know when we're salt satisfied, and we crave certain things when we are deficient in sodium and dehydrated. And so a big way that I just like clicked to me was I used to fucking douse everything with hot sauce. Like I would just pour the whole thing on everything. Like loved it. I didn't know this. The reason why was because I was so dehydrated. Like I cook a lot of my food, I would just moderate season stuff. And I was just like, I needed hot sauce. I was like, oh, I just thought I like spicy stuff. Well, when I started drinking my red salt in the morning, I literally craved no more hot sauce. It was because the salt in the hot sauce that actually made me want it. And so when I started drinking my red salt, or, even Element before when I was on that, what I noticed is I had a lot less cravings for shitty processed food. And it was able to help me eat a better diet, whole foods, and stuff that wasn't heavily processed with, seed oils, processed sugars, and processed sodium. And so it really depends on a lot of factors. But what I do is I take one full serving, so 2 scoops in the morning, which is that 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and that like lights me up. It gets me ready to work out. I'll pair that with a kiwi or a banana, some kind of carbohydrates. I love performing on carbs as opposed to fat, but I do eat a decent amount of fats during the day to keep my energy stable. But when I'm like playing volleyball, I play about 10 hours a week of beach volleyball here in Ocean Park, or training in the gym, Like I want carbohydrates and I want salt. That is like my go-to.
Mhm.
It really helps. So if I hit an hour in the gym, chances are I'll just do that one scoop that day. But if I go play 2 hours of volleyball, I did a sauna session later, I went to another group class. I've been going to a lot of just different group classes to make connections in the fitness industry to help push Redsalt or sample it out everywhere. I'll do either another half or full serving, but it's all based upon how I feel and what my body wants. Because like I said, we're really like our bodies are so smart. We have the answers inside of us. If you listen to it, you'll know. So if I'm going out and eat Mexican, really salt heavy and a bunch of tortilla chips or like Chinese, the next morning I won't even take red salt because I have way too much sodium in my body. And chances are I'm retaining a lot of that sodium because of those processed carbs that, they're basically that's where people go wrong. I don't want to get into, blood pressure and retaining sodium, but a lot of where you go wrong is when you're insulin resistant, you retain a lot of it. And that comes from the bad sugars. So it really just depends, but what I try to do is at least take one serving a day. So if I were to eat a salt-heavy meal the night before, I wake up, go sweat, and then I'll drink it afterwards because then I actually need it. But the key is I try not to eat those salt-heavy processed meals because that's going to make me way healthier. And I stay on this track because when I drink in the morning, I don't crave any of those salt-heavy processed meals. Or like a mid-afternoon little half serving will help me stable energy instead of reaching for like candy or like sugary stuff because I'm hitting a crash.
Yeah.
Okay. So anywhere between, so it just depends on the activity of the day to help you with like titrating your dosaging throughout the day. I feel like, Vegas heat when summer rolls, like I usually need about, at least 2 servings of, well, I use Element or I've been using Salt, just trying out different brands just to see which ones have like best flavor profiles, how I feel. Same thing, like which one has the best ratio, which one makes you feel like your body's like performing the best. And also like flavor is a big thing too. So now I was like, oh, what are the 2 flavors that you guys have to offer? Oh yeah, watermelon and citrus. But I'm like, okay. Well, citrus, you call my name.
We will have more soon. That was just the 2 most popular in my research.
Gotcha. Well, generic watermelon flavor. You need to hit it
Dude,
with.
my watermelon is good. People are like, I don't like watermelon. They drink it. They're like, have you ever had a watermelon and put salt on it?
Yes, if it
Dude.
tastes like
It
that.
literally
Dude.
tastes like that. It tastes just like that. It is not the shitty, like chemically processed water. It tastes really good. I delayed this for months getting this flavor dialed in. And
Okay.
also, can we speak about the flavoring just a little bit?
Yeah. I wanted you to touch on that because, sorry to interrupt. Again, in my experience, certain flavors do have that artificial flavor taste to it, even though the product is, using a lot of like, again, we'll call it quote natural flavor with watermelon. Watermelon's a big one. So to me, normal consumer, I've yet to find someone's watermelon flavor where I'm like, this doesn't remind, you know what I mean? Like this reminds me of an actual watermelon.
Oh, dude, you're gonna love this. I can't wait to
Okay, if you blow my mind, I'll come back here, on the podcast and say like, I'll put your bag right here and be like, y'all need to try this,
Okay, let's do it. Let's go. So let's touch a little bit about flavoring because I'm super excited. It's kind of like underneath the hood. You're not going to see this on the label. I will, have it a little bit in ads here and there because it is a key point that differentiates Redsalt from a lot of the brands. But when I first started, you have natural flavors. Everybody's like, I don't know what's in natural flavors. Well, it's because no one really tells you. When I first started, they're just like, yeah, here, we'll just use these natural flavors. And then over time, I started asking questions after question. In the beginning, I was honestly pushed to use sucralose so hard. And I was like, I am not using sucralose, which sucralose is artificial sweetener. It's found in most of these health, like sports and fitness supplements, like all the pre-workouts, all those have sucralose.
Is it 'cause
95
it's
plus
cheaper?
percent.
Or does it?
Yeah,
Is it
It's
'cause
way cheaper. It's 1,000 times sweeter than sugar. So use a very small amount
Is
and
it a
it
good
goes a
binder,
long
though?
way.
Is it because it's a good binder too, or is it just because of sweeter and it's 1,000 times cheaper?
It's cheaper and sweeter. And sweeter equals, which the reason I didn't like it is every time I drank sucralose, all I could think about for the rest of that day was going and getting sugar. And like that's something that my body, like when I eat sugar, I crave more sugar. And so I usually push my fruit and everything off till later in the day. So I'm not just like thinking about it all day. And also, we'll go into in a second. I have Invisalign now. I think Invisalign is the new GLP-1. We'll go in a second.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
But anyways, natural flavors. Oh, so Element got called out. They're like, they're hiding sugar in their formula. And they have 10 calories. Like, where are these calories coming from?
Yeah.
Well, when you start digging in, and I finally started digging in, I'm like, what is in natural flavors? And they're like, well, it's going to be certain things that occur in nature paired with a carrier. And that carrier in powder form, not in ready to drink, is different. But in powder form is usually maltodextrin with corn sugar. Element, same. I imagine all the brands, probably the popular brands, like I don't really know anyone who's advertising this or who does this.
What's
but
Element called out for that, Marcos? Right? Because
yeah,
that
was like
so many people were like,
or like low sugar.
Well, they promote it's good for fasting, and you have almost like a 2 grams of sugar in there. Like that's not truly fasting. Like you have sugar, but we don't have to, as a supplement company or a food company, you don't have to claim anything that's under a flavor. So the natural flavor, I don't have to claim the ingredients in it because it's under the flavor.
So is that like I remember Marcos and I doing like a podcast episode about it, and I still like didn't really understand it. I know Marcos went deep into it on the blog.
I went rabbit hole a little bit. And anything under a certain, because it's such a trace amount, typically, like you said, it's pretty negligible. Plus, then with the hand waving that is allowed with like percent error on particular things, it basically is like, it's less than 5 calories, or like, I mean, less than, like, it is like, to us, it's like absolutes, but well, technically it's a powder and they use this much, and based on the amount of yield you're using and the percent volume, chances are you're not really ever getting 5, or 4 if it's like 1 gram of sugar, right? So we just call it 0. We just ran down to 0. It's like, oh shit, last time I checked, like if we're doing in increments of 5 on the food label, 4 is closer to 5 than it is 0, so
that is hilarious. But that was a rounding. And I remember, I didn't watch the video, Marcos, but maybe you did. But like, I remember, who is it that owns Element? Like, he's like a whole carnivore guy. Like, what's his name?
It's
Rob Wolf, right?
Rob Wolf.
Yeah.
Like, they did like a whole like debate or like the whole like video just trying to defend themselves, right? Like, well, I didn't watch it, so I don't.
I think what to Jacob's point here is, for certain individuals that might be more sensitive to sugars, whether it is like a type 2 diabetic or certain things, like it is still a negligible amount. But like, what if there is like some sort of like weird corn allergy, which is like peculiar, right? But like you're now using a corn-based product that's included in there, right? I know it's gluten-free, but it's not corn-free, and certain people are just not educated enough to like not know what they're putting in their body. Now look at, if my kids, for example, there was natural flavor included peanuts, and peanuts wasn't disclosed there, my kid had anaphylaxis, you best believe I'm going to sue that company in today's world, because like
I see where this is falling in the lines of like negligence,
and litigation, man. Like granted, it should be the protection for the consumer. So Jacob, you can go into your not so back end way of like trying to like actually disclose like what you're using, right? I do think that's important.
I'm happy about it. I'm freaking ecstatic about it. So anyways, most brands, I'm like, well, what am I using? They're like maltodextrin. I'm like, oh, I got to change that. So this new formula, I'm like, what else can we use? It's not corn sugar. Is there anything healthy that we can have as a carrier? And so we actually took the time and money, or I did, to custom formulate my natural flavor with acacia gum, which is a fiber. And so even underneath the hood, which came in soon the label, I've optimized this formula to be like premium, as clean as possible. And so our natural flavor uses acacia gum as the powder carrier. And so you're not going to break it fast. You can, it really has no calories, and it's going to be something that I feel better putting in my body because it doesn't have the corn sugar. It's got acacia gum. Now, in the future, if we figure out better, then I'm definitely going to improve on it. But I feel like I'm in a really good place and being responsible as I can, providing that to my community and spending that extra money. Which, when you look at Element, it's like they use processed table salt. Honestly, I don't know much about what they're concerned about. It just appears to me that they spend a lot of money on influencers and marketing, when I really want to make sure that my customers are the ones who receive all the value. And so I want to put all money back into customers. Like I said, events and free gifts. That's what I want to invest in, because once again, impact is the game, not dollars in your bank account because it's
Yeah.
like it's only so much you can do with money.
Well, and speaking to that, like my hat is legitimately the Element hat right now, and they do a good job of even giving gifts throughout the year because you've purchased a bundle from
Yeah,
them
yeah.
throughout the year, right? So it's like, but those little touches do go a long way as an end consumer. You're like, oh, it's a reminder literally daily because I'm wearing a hat that they like provided to me that's like a high quality whatever $35 hat, whatever it is, and I'm just like, yeah, every day in the gym I don't want to do my hair first thing in the morning. I do this and I take my Element or my Salt
Actually,
or my whatever other product that I've been trying out, right? And
do, do you
he's
know the
like,
brand Melon?
yeah, Melon, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So these are Melon quality hats, like 60, $70.
yeah.
And yeah, I'll be giving these out. So
See, so you're
Oh,
you're
let's try to
you're
yeah.
you're learning you're learning as an entrepreneur day by day, and those things, like again, as a consumer, as a purchaser of said thing, an athlete that wants to have a high quality performance supplement, effectively with what you're really created here, right? But I do think it goes beyond that too, because like again, you might find, I mean, the addition of the creatine, again, you're like, oh man, like cognitively, I feel my best at 1.5, 2 scoops a day, or when I'm under more, allostatic stress, like load, right? That extra creatine is actually helping with some of the cognitive demands that feel diminished when I'm in my workday. Like, there's a lot of things to be said about certain things being included.
Well, yeah, man. I think it's good, right, Marcus? I've talked to a lot of folks that as a habit and ritual, with like what Jacob's talking about, is like, some people just down coffee right away, and like it's like for them it might not be the best, but like then they try some electrolytes or something like that, and they feel a lot better, cognitively inclined, and has some creatine in it.
Yeah.
Money.
So let's tap on the last little bit of the formula because like I can't fade these ingredients. One, they cost a lot because they're super valuable, but two, they actually provide huge value. Have you guys heard of L-tyrosine?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I
But
have
you
a
run it
whole
though. But you run it though.
Oh no. So I mean, L-tyrosine is good to help with cognitive function, especially under pressure, under high demand. L-tyrosine's like I've been taking it in pill form, and that's why I put it in here. I would do a gram every morning with my Redsalt. I would just pop pills. And I'm like, dude, I should just throw it in here. But it was like as I went to go coach classes in the morning, like I could coach like the 6, 7, 8 a.m. class, remembering what to say, being like alert and like actually like present in my mind for my members. L-tyrosine was like the difference there. It's like obviously the electrolytes creatine help, but that L-tyrosine gave me that little extra boost. And if you have like a really mentally demanding job, or you just didn't get enough sleep the night before and you want to have that same level of performance, L-tyrosine is powerful. So it has a gram per serving. Have you guys heard of L-citrulline?
Yes.
Pump nectar.
Yeah, so L-citrulline is typically found in pre-workouts for the pump. And most of the studies show like a 6 to 8 grams of L-citrulline malate. So pure L-citrulline doesn't absorb as good as when it's paired with malic acid in that form. And so that's what I have in there is like the most absorbable, but I use only 4 grams. The reason why is like I'm not trying to use this as like pump performance. Like you can use it definitely for performance, but it's more of that daily ritual. But what L-citrulline does is help to increase nitric oxide production to help pump more through the system. And in my head, which I would love to be able to afford to do studies on this, when you drink high sodium, high salt, you increase blood volume, blood pressure, so volume. And if you can open up that a bit with L-citrulline, increase in nitric oxide production, it's going to help push more through. So you're getting more efficient delivery of what you need when you're pushing hard workouts or, just at work performing. And so that was another thing that I was really proud of putting in there is that L-citrulline, not for the crazy bodybuilding pump, but more for just the synergy it has with the high sodium.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like the great one of the when you look at a great product, like for example, Gorilla Mind's like ready to drink nootropic drink is probably one of the greatest like formulations I've ever seen. Redsalt is like on that same spectrum of like an electrolyte performance, but also like good energy, good formulation. It's right there. Like you've really thought it out. Like the formulation is so nuanced, so like you've probably like experimented exactly with what you need, and it's probably going to really resonate well with a lot of folks, especially in that persona of like, look, work out in the morning or like get going to your day, but you don't want to like not have a morning ritual, and you also need to get hydrated. It's like it's this thing that it's like a reminder. Hey, get grounded for a second, get something in you, get after it. You're gonna feel a lot better for it. You don't need to smash like a bunch of caffeine and nicotine just to get through your day and screw your endocrine system. Which, hey, those things can be fun too. But it's I feel like you've really just hammered in on something like that, and then also to tie in like the whole community and all that. It's like, yeah, I would say this is up there, man. This is up there. Like Redsalt is. That's why when I met you, I was like, this is so oddly unique because I've been looking at formulations for a long time. It's Marcos Design's job, and I'm like, I haven't seen anything like this. Like I've never seen anything like this. Like even Element 2, it's a good product in terms of like it's a consumer facing thing that like a lot of people know about, even people that are not fitness folks. Like they've seen it, right? It's like almost like a household name because it's in Target now and it's in these sachets. I bet you at some point like Redsalt needs to scale to that same level, get into Target, right? Like this Ketone IQ, for example, got into Target now, Element, like, and then maybe one day a ready to drink like can version. It's gonna be my fridge. Jake. Like all day.
I could tell you a funny story about the ready to drink. So I was actually looking into adding a small ready to drink formula that was specifically to help hangovers. And I don't want to say prevent or cure because that's not going to do that and can't, but to really help aid with decreasing the symptoms of hangover. And there's like these little like 3-ounce shots, and like honestly I think this could crush. I hope someone does it because it would really benefit the world. But this is going to be kind of a story. So when I bartended in Atlanta, I was one of the highest paid bartenders for the 2 or 3 years I was there. And the reason why is because I would never take an order. I would like sell an experience. And if you're coming to a bar, like most people, you're there to have a good time. Obviously you're drinking, that's what you're buying from the bartender. But my goal was to just make that person have a really good time and sell them an experience. And that came with like, hey, do you want some shots to go with that? Like everything they would order, I would always recommend something that could elevate their experience. One, it made the bar more money. 2, it drove up my ticket price, which you typically make around like 15, 20% tips. So the more you can sell, the more tips you're going to make. And so I would always just offer something. And so I was thinking like a year ago, I was like, man, what if bars, like everybody who ordered, it would have to be certain bars. It couldn't be everywhere, but I'm thinking like, high volume clubs and dive bar type places. What if the bartenders, instead of just like, what do you want? Vodka soda. Okay, here you go. $10. What do you want? I'll take a vodka soda. Oh, cool. Would you like a hydration shot to go with that so you're not hungover tomorrow, or you're not to help with your hangover tomorrow? Word it in a way that's actually legal. But have the bartenders sell these shots of electrolytes, and there's a few more things I put in there. I can't remember the exact formula, but it's like what all could prevent a hangover. There's like the milk thistle or whatever. I don't know if you guys heard of that. You got all these cool ingredients, and I was like, let's formulate something that can shoot this back, and it would be good for like 2 or 3 drinks. So like every 2 or 3 drinks, boom, shoot one of these. So what you're doing at a bar is like, if I owned a bar, I would do this in a second. 1, you're increasing the AOV, the ticket value. 2, you're increasing that person's experience by allowing them to have, like, you guys know when you go out drink, you get heavy, you get tired. As soon as you hit some electrolytes, you're right back. You're good. Like it really does help. The next day it could help cure the hangover, but in the moment it's really powerful to help good energy and prevent. And so I was like, dude, if bars upsold, they would make so much more money. They would bring people a better experience. Those people would drink more because they're hydrated, and it would just be all around like a positive for everyone involved. And I'm like, I want to make this one day, but dude, it has to be pushed by bars in the moment. Because it's like, who makes more money? The guy with the hot dog stand. I forgot what Alex Hormozy said, but he's like, yeah, if you set up where people are hungry, you're going to make the money, because where the demand is where you want to be. And like in a bar, when you're literally thinking like, fuck, I'm going to be hungover tomorrow. If someone offered you a way to not be hungover, you would take it like that. You would buy it for everybody in your group. So hopefully one day I'll have that ready to drink.
Jacob, it's funny because we have a friend that she was a rep, or I forget, maybe management with a company called Rescue Water. And that was literally their demographic, was like supposed to be post-workout hydration. But they found out that it was more successful in bars.
Hangovers, yeah.
Same thing though. It's just like, oh yeah, the prickly pear extract or whatever the hell was in it that like helped people,
Yeah.
you know? But you're right, like everything in life. I was talking about this with Rachel today, Seamus, about like, you know, we need to foster the experience and the, you know, what's going on when it comes to 2026 so that people feel like, you know, how we went about handling them was a unique time amidst the same service offering that everybody else around us does. So I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like the, you know, the ability to understand that and do it well and, you know, be at a high level with whatever it is that you do. I definitely feel like it's, I mean, you gotta put your passion into it, you know, whatever it is, you know. Hell, like today I actually was watching, this guy does these, I think it's a YouTube series. I have no idea. It's a short series is what it is. James, have you seen this guy? He ended up saving like 60 G's to build a tiny house by like sleeping in his car for like and driving Uber, like Uber Eats. He's like, my goal was to just save up and do this, and something like that is like captivating because you're experiencing him with him, you know?
That's sick.
Yeah. So
Okay, I actually have something cool. I don't know how much time we have left, but
we're good. Yeah.
okay. So I was the other day, kind of the year end conversation with myself, like, hey, dude, let's be honest. Let's see the stuff we're doing good and see the stuff we can improve on and make set some goals here. But I was like, how can I do this in a way that's different than what I've done in the past that could actually, you know, help transform my life in 2026 in a good way? And so I thought about doing like a 30-day trial with myself on stopping something and starting something. I was like, okay, for 30 days, I'll give myself a trial to completely stop this behavior and I'll replace it with this behavior. And one of the behaviors that I wanted to start, which is like I've always had a challenge posting like content online. It's not something I enjoy or am good at, but it's necessary.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, it's like a lot of us who are our age, you know, it's just not, we didn't grow up like that, you know. I grew up with a camera because of Jackass, and that's about it. But with my friends doing stupid stuff,
That's
but
the
it was
second
never.
Jackass reference for me today, Jacob. I was like, yeah, we thought it was a good idea to jump off a second story into a bush just because they were doing it and making money on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have so many injuries from my childhood because of that. But anyways, one of the things I wanted to start was posting my struggles and bringing people along on a journey with me struggling, because I think like that's where a lot of like that's the content I like to see is like, hey, here's my problem. Come join me as I overcome this problem. And the challenge is like internally, it's like, fuck, I don't know if I'm ever going to overcome this. And so you don't really want to post about it, but it's like, okay, I have to. Like as a business owner, like you're just solving problems. That's literally all you do
Fires
all day.
left and right, dude.
And so it's like, okay, how can I curate this, you know, on my personal Instagram to like help people who like teach them something they can learn from. And we kind of learn together because I could even post a problem I don't know how to solve and maybe even get feedback from someone out there. And so like that's one of my new goals is like, okay, let's try to post more of my struggles. And I need to come more specific, like, okay, it's going to be twice a week I do it. So really dial in the action. But that was one of the things I wanted to start, which I thought was cool.
I like that. I feel like it's more engaging because it's like people have problems and they're probably had similar problems like you, and you could be raw and authentic about it. And they might have just a different perspective. You're like, shit, I haven't even tried what they just said. So give that a shot.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, who knows? Maybe you make a small little increment towards it. Dang, that's kind of inspired me because like I'm having some gut problems right now. So like I gotta maybe I gotta like bring up some things. I mean, I'm doing a whole gut thing, but like bring it in and see what other people talk about. Because you know what I think is also cool is like if you're on top, it's nice to get the claps. It's nice to get the good job. You did great. But people engage with like, man, this guy's struggling. Let me help him out. And most people
Yeah.
probably want to help you out. So I feel like that kind of engages. Dude, Marcos, we got to learn a thing or two and do something like that. Like, hey, as a podcast, here's how we're struggling. We haven't hit this many views yet. Like just see what people.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, it's also part of the joy of doing something that you're not good at is that every year can become more successful as a result of just doing more work towards the thing. And if it was an overnight success, Seamus, if we did have something have virality and then we felt like this need to produce versus just getting good at the thing, I don't know if it would be as enjoyable.
I don't think it'd be as good if we had to maintain that, like whatever that thing that got viral and that was the thing that set us up. Like, oh, we had to keep that an image. I would honestly say would be F because like
Look at anybody's channel. It is so neat. It's so niche down for anybody that does anything, that it kind of goes against kind of like my own core interests as a result of like the thing that got them the success, you know? So as a result,
I
we wouldn't
hope
be talking to Jacob necessarily, you know, like why the fuck would we be talking to someone about salt, you know?
Yeah.
Just because we're genuinely curious, but it doesn't fit the niche, you know?
Yeah.
I hope the world is going away from putting everybody into boxes. Along with, I hope the fitness industry is going to go away from teaching people how to train isolated instead of as a system.
No, I mean it's all in the same thing, right? Keto, carnivore, like there's so many fucking schools that it's like, yo, like where do we agree upon? And let's just start there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and let's just work it. But no, Jacob, it's been about an hour, dude. Seriously, thanks so much for jumping on this podcast. I know it was like 6 months in the making, dude. Just
Yeah.
hanging out with you was fun. I know we had some inklings of some collaboration, so this was great. And I think, you know, your product, honestly, I think it's going to be one of those greats that like is at some point going to be like a normal household name. It just has that feel to it, and I know that like you're probably going to be more community and
What?
member based, but at some point can get to there without losing your core values, which I'm really like such a fan.
Dude, and just my 2 cents too. This is the perfect product for people over the age of 60.
Okay.
In all honesty, like your marketing demographic could easily be a higher age category that has like kind of all these things that can help with like cognition. It's like, you know what I mean? Like elite cognition blend, because like people, a lot of the conversations I've had are recently have been about like women's health, HRT, perimenopausal women, and understanding like the black box being removed in terms of hormone replacement therapy. In addition to that, it's people worried about their brain health and Alzheimer's and dementia. And as a
Yep.
result, creatine has, you know, it's recirculated into popularity, right? As a
Been
result,
rebranded. Yeah.
you know, it's rebranded itself. Yep. And
Yep.
as a result, it's like, what if you, like you just said, your daily ritual with AG1 gets you all your micronutrients. It's like, here's your cognition stack. You know, here's how to, you know, keep your brain sharp and keep your energy, you know, dialed in, even if you're not going into the gym. Granted, you would want them to hopefully be doing that, but I think of this product as something for my parents. Like, dude, start off with this every morning, boom, boom, right? Like, just get it down. You'll probably have a much better day as a result, and then, you know, just like their ability to go do the things versus like right now I have it like you. It's I have it all segmented for them, and then they skip days, and then they're like, I haven't been using it for a while. Right, the all-encompassing, all-in-one solution to the one thing. I mean, again, I look at this, I'm like, dude, I got to get my hands on it, figure out which ones they like the taste of. Nice that you're going to have multiple options too, because maybe you want to have a little bit of a flavor change every now and again, which I think is crucial.
Well, I'm going to be adding definitely more flavors, 100%. I'm just going to ask as the community builds, like, what do y'all want? And I'll make it.
I'm an orange guy through and through, you know?
Orange? Okay.
Yeah. Anything that's a good quality orange flavor.
Are you blood orange or just like a normal orange?
I don't discriminate, man. It's like
Okay.
orange, you know? It's weird though, because like sometimes I used to think I didn't like lemon lime or like a citrus flavor, because citrus to me reminds me of doing tobacco, citrus like skull, like as a kid, I guess excuse me. And so I have like certain flavors that if they remind me of chew, then I can't drink them. So there's certain like peach flavors, and certain, you know, flavors out there, like again, certain citruses, like quote citrus, lemon, lime, right? That I'm like, nah, like I can't drink this because it just reminds me of like dip spit.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I actually don't do coffee. I don't want to get into that, but yeah, similar experience when I was younger, bad experience. And like, I hate the smell of coffee. I never tried it, and I won't, just because of like a traumatic experience when I was younger.
It happens. Well, dude, Jacob, thanks for being here. Where can people find you? Where can people jump on, subscribe, start joining your community, man? We'll call it there.
Yeah. So Redsalt Sups, SUPPS, like supplements.com. Same thing, Redsalt Sups on Instagram. And really, I think my personal one's Unlock Doc Superhuman. But hopefully soon, you know, I'll be running some good ads, and those who need me will find me. And that's the goal. But yeah, if you do get your hands, or maybe I can send y'all some red salt. And the next one, we'll do a live taste of the watermelon. Marco's first time trying it on the pod.
Well, I'll
and
probably get it
we'll
before
get the
we
live.
get you back on, but I will be more than happy to record my initial impressions.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I've had some, you know, my Instagram fame that I have, you know, a couple products are like, hey, you want to try this, like, you know, sample? I was like, shit, yeah, I love the product, so let me just give it a taste. And I was like, told Seamus on some of them, I was like, bro, they all taste the same. This one was no different, you know.
All right, well, red salt might play the bargain. It might change things up a little for you.
Almost for sure, this is a specific protein bar that doesn't matter the flavor, they all taste the same to me. So I don't want to call them out. It's still a high quality product, still good, but I'm just like, people are like, what's your honest opinion? I'm like, I mean, try 4 of them, you won't know the difference.
You know what you're talking about. Well, Marcos, close us out and we'll lock it up.
Yeah, macro perspective peeps. Well, this is dropping in 2026, so thanks for being a avid listener and helping our views continue to grow. And as we do continue to grow, we like to be able to offer the best things in terms of products, in terms of availability for different people's offers. So again, please go support someone that is obviously starting with with a passion project and has spent many of hours and days and months and years into R&D to try to develop a product that can, serve a community of people that are looking to live a healthier, holistic lifestyle. And if you haven't already, go ahead and give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, whether that's on, Instagram or on Spotify and YouTube, and Apple Podcasts as well. We're on all of them. All of them have different metrics that we like to look at. I know everybody has different platforms that they prefer, so we appreciate you with whatever streaming platform that you're listening on. And until next time, Macro Perspective peeps, Marcos, Seamus, and our guest Jacob, we are out.
Thank you, guys.